The Trump administration has about 400 active cases going on right now, give or take. Nobody can keep track of all of them. I am here to help you cut through the noise a little and understand what's happening. Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm Brian, and this is the morning report on the federal courts for August 7th, 2025. Please do me a favor, leave a comment or a like so people will see this stuff. All right, you ready? Let's do this. Okay, I spoke briefly last week about San Francisco v. Trump. This is part of the sanctuary cities issue. There was already a case filed here on this in February, but 34 more jurisdictions want to be added on, both to the main complaint and to the injunctive relief. And the court issued an order yesterday allowing these new plaintiffs to at least file a second complaint that includes them. The plaintiffs have also asked for an expedited schedule. Basically, since the judge has already sort of agreed to a lot of the injunctive relief for those original plaintiffs, those new plaintiffs have a pretty good chance of getting what they want. They just want it faster. So the federal government has opposed the expedited schedule, but this order yesterday seemed to kind of take a middle road. Basically, the judge said, sure, I'll speed it up, but I'll also make sure the government has time to prepare arguments. Regardless, with 34 more plaintiffs, this case just became a behemoth. All right, also in California, in Newsom v. Trump, the government filed a new supplemental brief suggesting the upcoming trial in the case should be canceled. No more trial. The government essentially runs back through the same arguments they've run through several times to prove that the plaintiffs have no case as a matter of law. They say posse comitatus doesn't apply here, all of the actions were legal, and essentially, one by one, they say California's arguments don't hold water. The judge did not seem amused by their last-minute suggestion that the trial be canceled. He issued an order yesterday saying, next week's trial is not canceled. The court expects to hear evidence beginning on Monday. Per the court's order for pretrial, the presentation of evidence shall proceed efficiently. Failure to have the next witness ready or be prepared to proceed will constitute resting your case. Following the presentation of evidence, this court expects to hear the parties' legal arguments beginning on Tuesday. So I guess that's a no. And I guess we should get some more trial info out of this case next week, so that'll be exciting. All right, now we are going to leave California and take a look at Christosal v. Morocco. Christosal is a case about the Trump administration attempts to dismantle the Inter-American Foundation. Now, the Inter-American Foundation, or IAF, is an independent agency of the U.S. government. It was created through the Foreign Assistance Act of 1969 and funds community development grants in Latin America and the Caribbean. But in February, Donald Trump issued an executive order to wind down the agency. And there are a couple of cases that arose from shutting down the IAF. But yesterday, the plaintiffs in this case filed a notice to let the court know that the recent rescission order passed by Congress and that pulled funding back from a number of projects did not impact them in any way because they were already funded for the year. However, they still have not received payments that they are owed. So essentially, they were just sort of reminding the court, hey, still not paid, still supposed to be. Hello? Anybody there? Bueller? Hello? I don't think anybody's home. Okay, so I saved the biggest case here for last. Now, Washington v. Trump is one of several birthright citizenship cases, and I'll get to why this case is a little bit different from the others in a second. First, let me tell you what was filed yesterday. So, the parties filed a status report that the judge ordered them to file every so often. It's just an update on what's going on in the case. Now, the district court in this case, issued a preliminary injunction in February prohibiting the government from implementing the Birthright Citizenship Executive Order nationwide. The government appealed, and after some back and forth, including the CASA decision, so remember that part, the Ninth Circuit still affirmed the nationwide preliminary injunction. The status report yesterday is just letting us know that the Solicitor General, by the way, the Solicitor General is the person at the federal government who handles all of the appeals. So that's an important thing to know as well. The Solicitor General is going to bring one of the birthright citizenship cases to the Supreme Court, but is not sure which one yet. So, okay, cool. Now, what makes this case a little different is that the other birthright citizenship cases involve individual plaintiffs who are suing because their individual right to citizenship is in jeopardy. Or more likely, it's a parent suing on behalf of a child whose individual right is in jeopardy, but same idea. In this case, in Washington v. Trump, it's different because this is essentially brought on behalf of the people, like we the people, for violations of rights under the Constitution. But a case like that can only be brought in very limited circumstances and by very limited parties. So one of the most common ways for a constitutional right to be asserted by the people like this is for a state attorney general to bring a case on behalf of the people of a state. And that's what happened here. And that's also why this isn't subject necessarily to the CASA ruling. And its restrictives on injunctive relief are not as restricted, or at least not in the same way. This is actually one of the exceptions that was discussed by Justice Gorsuch in his concurring opinion in CASA. But there's still one remaining issue, well, there's a lot, but one in particular, that hasn't been dealt with yet from CASA, and I think it's making an appearance here in Washington v. Trump. So, the CASA opinion from the Supreme Court said that preliminary injunctions can block a defendant, even the entire federal government, from harming the plaintiffs in a case. It can't be an automatic blanket to protect everybody in the country. It's only supposed to protect the plaintiffs. So, in a case like this, does that mean that the injunction should only protect the citizens of the states that brought the lawsuit? Meaning that, depending on how you read CASA, if you live in Washington state and your attorney general brought this suit, does this injunction guarantee your child's citizenship while this case is ongoing? But if you live in Mississippi and your attorney general didn't sign on to this case, are you not covered or your child not covered? Which means that citizenship would be granted differently in different states? Because if that's what CASA says, and it might, that would be a big old mess. And that may be why the Solicitor General is thinking about bringing a different birthright citizenship case before the Supremes. The way this case could play out, if that question comes up, could force the court to decide against the government on this case, even if they otherwise like the arguments. So keep your eye on this one, guys, and also keep your eye on CASA, because it's going to have huge implications. It's messy, we still don't know what it means, and we probably won't know for a while. All right. That is your Thursday morning report on the past day in federal courts. Again, if you can, leave a comment, get this out there. I'd really appreciate it. And if you know someone who would like this, please share it with them. Otherwise, keep watching, everybody. I'll keep working on these. Thanks a lot. Have a great Thursday.